Welcome to the brand new, never before been done on YouTube series, the Geekdom 101 Technique Guide. Much like the other series on this channel, The Strongest in Dragon Ball In Depth, the Transformation Guide, and others, we now have the Technique Guide where I'll be going through the various techniques used in Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and Dragon Ball Super. And it all begins here. But unlike the Transformation Guide, we're not going to be going in order by appearance or anything like that. Instead, with the Technique Guide, it'll be way more interactive. Check out the community tab on my channel periodically because I will give you a chance to vote so you can choose the direction the guide takes for the next video. But like the other guides and videos on this channel, expect the same quality of research to go really deep into these techniques, as you'll learn a lot about the history of them, where Toriyama got the idea from, or Toei, and other really in-depth tidbits that you may or may not know. I have already made the playlist on the channel, and I will be putting in some older videos where I cover technique explanations into that playlist, sort of retroactively putting them in the guide from the past, and we'll be adding new ones as the videos come out, and you'll see the guide grow and grow and grow, so it'll be easy for you to find the videos in the playlist. Thank you, and let's get right to the first edition of this new technique guide, the Dragon Fist. Super Saiyan transformations, the Genki Dama, and now Ultra Instinct. What do they have in common? Historically, they have always been Goku's big trump cards, the move that Goku resorts to, or the transformation or ability that gets him out of a jam. But there is one that I feel is probably one of the most interesting moves that Goku busts out when he's in trouble, regardless of whether it's canon or non-canon. It does not matter. And I'm talking about the Dragon Fist. What is the secret behind Goku's Dragon Fist? How strong is it? Where did Toei get the idea for the Dragon Fist? No, it was not in the original manga. It was not created by Toriyama, but you would be surprised as to how similar it is to Toriyama's train of thought. You'd be surprised that the Dragon Fist comes from the same olive branch that Dragon Ball itself was inspired from. More on that next. So before we go any further, yes, the Dragon Fist technique is not in the manga. It's only been seen a handful of times, and the times that it was seen was not from the pen of Akira Toriyama himself. However, the origins of the move certainly come from the same olive branch that Dragon Ball itself originated from. The first time that we ever saw the Dragon Fist technique was in Dragon Ball Z theatrical movie 13, known as Dragon Fist Explosion, or in the West, Wrath of the Dragon. It seemed like Hirudegarn was invincible, as he was able to defeat not only Goku, but also SS3 Gotenks, Ultimate Gohan, Vegeta, and not even Tapion could stop this monster, when out of nowhere Goku tapped into some unknown force and released and unleashed an incredible power known as the Dragon Fist, where he charged at Hirudegarn and actually transformed into a dragon, penetrating him through the stomach and then surrounding him, wrapping him like a serpent and squeezing him into oblivion. So, like the subtitle for movie 13 says, if Goku can't do it, who can? And even though all these other guys had failed, Goku pulled out his ultimate trump card to win. After movie 13, we did see it a few times in Dragon Ball GT, and most recently, I think the biggest showcase of the Dragon Fist was at the end of Xenoverse 2, the main campaign, where SS Blue Goku unleashes a new version of the Dragon Fist to defeat the mutated version of Mira. And to me, that was a really, really cool Easter egg. That was a great idea for them to wrap up that story by having Goku bust out that move, which we haven't seen in a very, very long time. Now, that technique was presumably written by the man responsible for the original Dragon Ball Z movies, Takao Koyama, who was also one of the main showrunners and scenario writers for Dragon Ball Z when it was running in Japan. He was kind of the overseer of some of the television writing and filler episodes and whatnot, things like that. And so he wrote the movies, he created Hirudegarn, and presumably created this Dragon Fist technique. Now, one thing you have to understand about dragons is that Toriyama is not the only person who has a fondness for dragons. Dragons are ingrained in Japanese and other Asian cultures. A lot of this coming from originally China and their philosophy. The Chinese believed that dragons were very powerful gods and these incredible benevolent creatures, not demonic or evil, benevolent creatures that would protect us and help the harvest and whatnot. I went into more detail on this in my Dragon Ball in-depth video called The Secret of Dragon Ball's Dragon. So for even more information as far as where Toriyama got it from, that's where. So understand that Takao Koyama and other people working at Toei and Shueisha all grew up with this knowledge of the dragon's philosophy and the importance of a dragon in culture. So that's why we see dragons coming up again and again and again when it comes to anime, manga, kung fu movies. It's just a thing over there. So Koyama getting this idea to turn Goku into a literal dragon, was it too much? I don't know, but there is something rooted in this when you look at the origins of Dragon Ball, the real origins, and that is if you go back to Journey to the West. Journey to the West is the folk tale that Dragon Ball's roots came from. I went into explicit detail on this in my Origin of Dragon Ball video, the Dragon Ball in-depth video talking about the birth of Dragon Ball and how Toriyama and a lot of Japan was inspired by Saiyuki, aka Journey to the West, and the main character Sun Wukong, which is where Son Goku comes from. Now obviously by the time we got to movie 13 of Dragon Ball Z, the series had evolved way beyond the original inspirations. It was a totally different show, totally different story, totally different manga, but the roots of Journey to the West are still there. Case in point, Sun Wukong in the original folktale meets these dragons that can take the shape of humans and vice versa. They can transform. And even though it's not explicitly stated that's what happened with Goku, it would make sense. Not to say that Goku is a dragon who's secretly being immortal or whatever. That's not the case here. It's more so that Goku learned somehow to transform his body into a dragon or to create an energy dragon around his body and use that to penetrate and destroy his opponents. Now, it's not ever explained where Goku learned this from. They never explained it in any form of media. They don't know if it's from a master or whatever, but most of us have pretty much determined that Goku developed this move on his own, which is really cool because the other moves Goku has in his repertoire, like the Kaioken, the Kamehameha, etc., he learned those from other people. This is a move that Goku developed on his own at some point prior to movie 13. Now, of course, movie 13 and the Dragon Ball Z theatrical movies do not fit in with the manga. They're separate stories, but if you were to fit movie 13 into the manga, it would be during the 10-year time skip, probably shortly after the defeat of Kid Buu, and at that point, there may have been some time for Goku to develop this move. I don't think Goku just invented this technique out of thin air. I don't believe he just did that, because it's just weird that he would just do that. Even though we've made the joke, you know, Goku Ex Machina, the move is way too potent and way too powerful for him to have just invented it out of thin air. Now, if you examine the Taoist belief that you can ascend into heaven on the back of a dragon and eventually gain the power to manifest a dragon out of your own body, this is the actual Taoist belief. At some point when you ascend to this level, you get this ability. Many people who study the history of this have kind of put two and two together and made the assumption that Goku learned this technique in the other world, presumably from another race or another species or one of the gods. Now again, that is just a theory. It is not explained in any of the Dragon Ball material, but it makes sense based on the original roots. But either way, Goku just pretty much learned how to transform himself into a dragon. It's like an animality of sorts if you're an old school Mortal Kombat fan for Dragon Ball. There's no real explanation. Now, one thing that is absolutely told to us is the power that the Dragon Fist technique gives Goku. Goku can go from losing a fight to using this technique and shifting the tides completely in his favor. Now, we don't exactly know how much of a multiplier, how much of a power boost the Dragon Fist can give you. This is up for debate, of course. However, based on what happened in Dragon Ball GT, we know that the Dragon Fist technique may grant Goku a 10 times multiplier low ball, possibly even more than that high ball. Now, where am I getting these numbers from? You've got to go to Dragon Ball GT and the battle with the Shadow Dragons. Yi Xinglong, otherwise known as Omega Shenron, was fighting Goku, and Goku did the Dragon Fist, and when he had transformed into becoming Omega Shenron, Yi Xinglong, he stated that he was 10 times more powerful, and Goku was able to hurt him with the Dragon Fist despite being 10 times more powerful. So that means that Goku's Dragon Fist is at least 10 times stronger than Goku, at least for that instance of a moment. It could be even more than that, or what could also be the case is Goku can choose how much of his energy to put into the Dragon Fist to deliver that final blow. This is something that's, again, up for debate. I'm not going to sit here and debate power scaling, but it does seem to me like Goku can control this thing, because it seems like the one he used against Hirudegarn, he put a lot more of his force into it than the one that he used against Omega Shenron, but he was also much stronger in Dragon Ball GT than he was in Dragon Ball Z Movie 13. I mean, we're talking about astronomically more powerful, and thus the Dragon Fist technique would presumably get more powerful with Goku. I don't think it has like a set power level. I think that as Goku gets stronger, just like his other moves, like the Kamehameha and the Kaioken, they do multiply in strength, and because of that, Goku becomes really dangerous with this Dragon Fist move. Now, one more thing. We have to debunk this one. There is a lot of talk in the Dragon Ball fandom, or at least there was at one time, that the Dragon Fist that Goku uses in Movie 13 is the same move he used on King Piccolo to beat him in Dragon Ball. That is completely false and completely untrue. Some have said that this is an evolution of that move. That could be possible, but I really doubt it. I don't think it has anything to do with that move at all, because if you remember, when Goku punched through Piccolo, all he did was just forcefully punch through him, and we saw sort of the Great Ape, the Uzaru vision behind him. He channeled all of his hidden Uzaru power and used it to punch through Piccolo. That's how that worked. He didn't transform into a dragon. He didn't wrap himself around Piccolo. It is not the same move. You can't just have Goku use his right hand as a punching utility, a right hook, and say it's the same move. I mean, it's just a punch. It's just that the one that Goku uses in Movie 13 is objectively not the same move. So we have to kill that misconception, rumor, whatever. It's another one of those things that Dragon Ball fans invented years ago that other fans just gullibly follow when there's no connection whatsoever to it at all. There's no connection. None. Like I said, the only similarities is that it's a right hand, a punch. But obviously, Dragon Fist is a lot more than that, because you literally turn into a dragon of pure energy. Thank you for watching my breakdown of the Dragon Fist technique, and it's definitely a move that I wish they would reincorporate into Dragon Ball, because it's very dangerous, and maybe Goku's most dangerous move when you really think about it, with the exception of the energy gathering moves like the Genkidama. This move is deadly and can ruin a lot of people's lives if they mess with Goku. So thank you again. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you very soon. Take care of yourself and each other.